The following podcast does contain some mature language, and more importantly, at moments does contain some story spoilers for the main story questline of Final Fantasy XIV. While we do appreciate you listening to this podcast and listening to us share our experiences, we want you to have the best experience possible in the main story questline, and suggest that you complete it up through Shadowbringers before listening to this podcast. In addition to that, I will give you another spoiler warning shortly before we start discussing main scenario quest content for Endwalker. With that said, enjoy the show. From the many realms of Eorzea to the distant reaches of the Two Moons via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 4 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Wednesday, December 22nd of 2021, and on the 7th day of starlight my true love gave to me, 7 reapers reaping, 6 sages shooting, 5 retainers, 4 finished roulettes, 3 million gil, 2 savage gear tanks, and a login queue that's less than 13. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and with me, as always, are my 2 wonderful co-hosts. First off, a gremlin who is waiting for that one person ahead of her in queue to log off so she can play the fracking game. Hi, Megan.
Hi. Yeah, I did end up with one person in queue ahead of me for like 30 minutes.
I have never had a login queue of 1, let alone a login queue of 1 that lasted that long.
It was so ridiculous. I didn't know what to do. I was like, are you serious? Like, get off. Go outside so I can stay inside.
And, of course, with her is a poor soul who a couple of days ago was sent to Wamhalla and is here to kill chaos. Hi, Brandon.
Good evening, everyone. And today, on this day, let it be known that no more shall man have wings to bear him to paradise. Henceforth he shall walk. And hopefully, while he's doing so, listen to A Podcast Reborn on your device or service of choice.
Well said. All right. Well, here we are. Now, we are quickly approaching a month since Endwalker Early Access began, which seems pretty crazy to say. I mean, we're now like 3 weeks in. We just had the new raid open up. By the way, this is the non-story spoilers section of the show. I can't guarantee how long that's going to last. If it only lasts 5 minutes, I apologize, but we've got a lot of Endwalkers still to talk about. Let's just kind of go around here and see what we've been up to without spoilers. I mean, we can probably talk about what we've been doing recently without really doing story spoilers at all. I mean, saying that there's a new raid out and that we've done the raid isn't much of a story spoiler as long as we don't talk about what happened in the raid. So, Megan, what have you been doing the last couple of weeks?
Well, I just got back from a cruise. I went on a 5-day cruise with Word. And so we you cannot play video games at sea unless they're handheld. So I played a lot of Animal Crossing. That was fun. I've unlocked a lot of features on at Paradise Planning. Yay. But other than that, when we got back in, it was like the day of maintenance. So we got in at like 6, or no, we got in to the apartment at like 8 a.m. And so we're like, we're going to play until it goes down. Because we wanted to do the new raids, and we didn't. The new raids weren't up yet. We wanted to get geared up for the raids. That's what it was. So yeah, it's been like crazy amounts of grinding for Tombstone gear, and then I've also been leveling Sage and Reaper on 2 different characters.
Ooh,
and because I realized that having my main be summoner and then also having my ult be summoner was kind of dumb. So I decided my ult. I mean, also I figured that if I'm going to be a Reaper, I should be a Reaper on a potato because that's the best.
Potato Reaper is best Reaper.
Yeah. So I've been leveling that. I'm almost caught up to the Shadowbringers MSQ on my potato, and then I'm going to play through the MSQ again because I liked it so much.
Without spoiling anything, all I will say is some of the cutscenes are magnificent with a potato.
I'm very looking forward to it. That's the other thing I'm looking forward to. I also really like all of the like character specific voice lines and stuff, where like people will mention your race or your class,
or your height.
Yeah,
Sure.
or height. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to when they mention my height. That's gonna be funny.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
yeah,
If you know, you know.
I haven't been playing that much until like the last 2 days, that I've just been freaking power grinding it, freaking put it straight in my eyeballs through my body. Yeah, I was just sorry. I was just running trusts and singing Christmas music, so that's the energy I have right now.
It is the season. So you did run the new raid. Are you happy with the drops that you got? Were like, from a pure game mechanic standpoint, without talking about like what the bosses are, were the fights fun?
Yes, definitely. And they were challenging without being like ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't wipe more than 3 or 4 times before my groups figured it out. And I got gloves out of it this week, and then I also got a hat token and a boot token, so I'll go for those next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
I ended up focusing on chest tokens, and I almost got 4 chest tokens, which would have let me get the chest piece this week, but I lost my last roll for him on the 4th boss. So next week I'll probably get the chest piece, but I got 3 chest tokens and I think boots. So that went fairly well for me, and I've got to agree, like the fights were. I honestly thought that the fights were going to be something like that. I was going to spend hours on each and every single encounter. On each encounter, we wiped at least once, and I don't think any of the bosses were downed in more than 3 tries. Like it took 3 attempts at max to take him down, and that was pretty nice. And yeah, they did feel challenging, and they were doing things I wasn't used to, and some of the, like, in a lot of the content that we've done outside of raids, and for people who played Final Fantasy XIV and have done raids, this is probably something that you're used to. But for me, being a relatively new raider, one thing I noticed that in raids, some of the callouts aren't as clear to notice. Like, you have to pay a bit more attention to what the callouts are, as far as like, okay, if the boss is actually doing something, you may not see a pattern on the floor to get out of, but if you see the boss do something, that means this is going to happen, so move here.
That was the biggest change for me coming from WoW, is that in World of Warcraft's raiding is very reactionary. Like, you see a thing and you react to it, whereas Final Fantasy is like, you learn the pattern, or like you see the boss do a thing and you know what that means. So it's more, I don't know if realistic is the real world, but like, you don't just see like, it is going to hit the ground here in 10 seconds, move your ass. It's like, that does happen sometimes, but not nearly as much. And like, if you just rely on like, I'm going to move out when the thing shows up, you're going to die a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and coming from WoW, in WoW, I even had, what was it, deadly boss mobs that would be like, move, when I'd be like, so
that's another thing too. It's like to think about, because I mean, Final Fantasy XIV is a game that does not allow mods, and people may use mods, but they are breaking TOS if they try to do that. But for a game that doesn't use mods, they've designed their fights well enough that you don't even need to think about trying to break TOS and using mods, because the mechanics and the callouts are easy enough to understand. They're in normal mode. I think they're easy to pick up and learn. And I feel like I've seen video of some of the older content Savage fights, and it's one of those things where, like, if I did those enough times, I feel like between people teaching me how to do it and just seeing the stuff myself, I could do it and not really worry about mods.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Most fights, especially in Savage mode, are very predictable, I'd say, is probably the best term to describe it. And that when you see, like, you know, a certain change, a certain attack being revved up, or a certain marker, it's generally going to be the same thing every time. Yeah. So it's very much you learn where you're supposed to stand so that you're safe from this attack, or what you need to do, what the healers need to do in order to prevent this attack from wiping you, and then you move on to the next one. And it's a lot of trial and error and just remembering the patterns. And normal mode is kind of like that, but with more training wheels.
For sure. All right, Brandon, what about you? What have you been up to the past week and a half since we last recorded? We are recording this a little bit early because holidays are coming up, and it'd be tricky to record a weekend of Christmas. So what have you been doing?
Honestly, I've just been trying to level up more jobs so I can see the story. I finished leveling Reaper to 90 so that I could both see the Reaper story and do the melee role quests in Endwalker, which, by the way, is really, really good, and I highly recommend it. Although you might
What country is it?
Limsa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It is fun, but you might see some people in that one that you're not really sure how to feel about. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. The other thing I've been doing was I leveled Sage to 80. Not because I needed to do the healer role quest, because, Summoner and Scholar cheating. But I wanted to see the Sage job quest up to 80. And it was really sweet. It was heartwarming, and it was almost tragic in a way, but it ended well.
It has a very sexy bunny boy in it and a very cute cat girl. So I'm like 2 thumbs up.
I'll take your word for it on the bunny boy. I found him annoying a lot of the time until the very end.
He's got a tragic backstory. Come on.
Oh, good Lord. The other thing I did was realize that, oh, hey, my summoner does not have the proper item level to run the raid. So just today, I finally got enough tomestones to queue for the raid, but I ran out of time to actually do it. So that's going to be on my agenda for the next few days, is finally getting in there and trying it out.
Let me tell you, Scholar Healing, the friggin', what's the dungeon that's part of the MSQ? It's so hard. Oh my god.
Which dungeon are you referring to? There's a lot of dungeons that are part of the MSQ.
No, the one that's in the expert roulette that's part of the MSQ.
Oh, you mean the dead ends?
Yeah, the dead ends. The one you always get because people are queuing for it to do the MSQ. And it's like, oh, a healer, push him in there. I'm always like, no.
I feel like I never get that one. I always get the other 2 optionals.
Oh my god, I never get the other 2. And it's always like people being like, I'm gonna stand in the thing that gives me doom. And then I'm like, I can only purge one of you, so who's my favorite? It's me. Because I'm dumb and I stood in it.
I never get that one. I always get the ones with super mild spoiler. The ones with robots. Yeah.
Oh my god. So Ward always gets that one, and when he was in it one time, somebody said that the lyrics to it sound like chicken tenders ready to fry.
Oh yeah, it is.
I don't know if you guys have done it, but that's the same theme song that plays when you do the Omega fight in the Omega raid from Stormblood.
Oh yeah, and
it's a great song, man.
It's and it's also what you hear like a twist on it when you do the twinning in Shadowbringers.
That's
the twinning
is
basically the twinning is basically that song. It's called Escape, by the way, but the twinning version, A Long Fall, is basically Escape, but with like super, super hard bass beats. I love it. I will still play that song just to watch my kids dance to it. It is so fun.
Oh my gosh. I love all those, I don't know. The
weird aside. A weird aside though. I work at a convenience store that makes chicken. we actually have a deep fryer and we fry chicken tenders.
So you got to get it on your headphones or something, or like while you're just doing it.
So I will admit that once the hot oil is warmed up at about 9 a.m. and they're going to start, about half the time I say chicken tenders are ready to fry, and they give me and my coworkers give me a look. I was like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like, why do you keep on singing that? It's like, you'll play Final Fantasy 14.
Except you can't.
The critically acclaimed
because the free trial's not available, right?
Oh yeah, never mind. The meme doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, now the meme is that you can't play the free trial.
I feel like you don't get it. You can't get it.
How have your, speaking of that, so free trial people have been kind of locked out. Meanwhile, login queue numbers continue to be a thing. I haven't ran into any massive login queue numbers. Like, I haven't hit a 2,000 or 3,000 in a while. I think the highest I've been hitting is around the 11 to 1,300 stage, and that may take like half an hour to get in. So not
privilege.
Terrible. Yeah, there you go.
Me and Ward, our mains are on Gilgamesh, which is Crystal. I'm pretty sure I'm mixing them up because, yeah. Anyway, I luckily got my character moved over to Siren, which is much less. But today, when I tried to log in, it was 2,000. And Ward's trying to log into Gilgamesh. He's still at work. He has like a remote desktop thing he uses to try and log on. And when he tried to log on 3 hours before he's going to be home, and there's 4K in the 4.5K in the queue, and it's moving so slowly that he's like, yeah, this is going to be like a 4-hour queue.
Oof.
I remember I saw 6,000, I think was the highest I saw it get to.
Oh.
I have definitely noticed that the queues seem to be smaller, and I don't know if that's people just deciding, well, I did the MSQ, I can quit until the next major content patch, or if there's a lot of people who aren't trying to log in because they're all on holiday trips.
I think it's both, but
Probably.
Yeah, Goblin's not bad at all. Like,
no,
I got it. That's why I was leveling my Dark Potato.
One thing that I've been doing a fair bit of, as well as like kind of the usual do roulettes, get gear and stuff, and I've of course done the raid. Now that I've done the MSQ, and I'm not the kind of person who like is super completionist on getting every job, class leveled up. So I mean, I've gotten a few things to 90 now, but one thing I've been doing a bit lately is been starting to get back into the RP scene a bit more. But it's kind of a really weird, interesting time in the RP scene because of the login queues. People can't world visit during primetime visiting hours. So a lot of communities, like if you're on Mateus or Balmung, you're fine, right? Because on that data center, Mateus and Balmung have huge RP communities. There's plenty of people to RP with. You're good. If you are on Goblin or Diablos like I am, there's not too much RP to be found. You kind of take what you can get. But luckily I've found a pretty cool group of people that I've had my character hang around with, and it's been good times. But yeah, one of the kind of funny things about the whole world visit thing is, for people who may not be into that scene or aspect of the game, is if you ever go into Party Finder and you look at like activities and stuff, there are a lot of RP nightclubs in Final Fantasy XIV. I think an unhealthy number of RP nightclubs in Final Fantasy XIV, if you ask me.
Are they nightclubs in like quotation marks?
No. There's a wide variety. There are some that are there are some that are nightclubs, and then there are some that are quote unquote nightclubs. But the thing is, with a lot of these clubs, regardless of where they fall on the nightclub spectrum, as it were.
Butterscotch. Nope. Nope.
Butterscotch is attacking the show.
She's being an absolute gremlin right now. She gets from me. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay.
I distracted her with my own flesh and getting my fingers bitten. She was trying to chew some cords.
The blood price was paid. But the interesting thing is, a lot of these venues count on having people from other realms, other worlds and stuff visit, so that there's people there. So all of these venues, a lot of venues that thought that they were going to reopen a week or two after Endwalker, there are a number of these venues that are still closed. And now you have the holidays coming up, and it's like, it's as someone who kind of has his eyes on the scene to a degree, it is interesting watching how that's all playing out, because worlds are kind of having to rely on their own instead of world visits, at least during the busier hours.
Yeah.
But I've still been doing Casino RP.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, huh? I'm making that money. I am making that money. In fact, I'm now at the point where I've reached the point where I am making more money in Casino RP once again than I am doing regular gathering or crafting stuff. So I'm back to Casino RP as being my number one source of gil making. So,
dear casinos that Ro routinely visits, please close your loopholes. He's stealing everything from you.
The funny thing is, the one casino that I frequent a lot, they've noticed my pattern now. And so they noticed my pattern of betting.
You're gonna break your kneecaps?
No. I'm playing within the rules and stuff, but they noticed my pattern of betting, and they'll type in party chat, or they'll say to tell me, next bet is so-and-so, right? And I'm like, yep.
Oh boy.
You know the drill. But it's still, I mean, I make a lot of gil doing that casino stuff compared to spending the same amount of time doing things like chopping logs and such. But there's still a degree of risk in it, and it's still something that it takes time. It's still a time investment. So it's not like I've got a cheat code for the game. I'm just doing something that's fun, and to me, it's fun, and I get to interact with other people. I get to see people gamble insane amounts of gil foolishly and lose it.
Oh,
folks,
man.
I've seen people on dice rolls bet, I shit you not, I'm using foul language, that's how intense this is. They will gamble 15 million gil on a single roll. Think about that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's definitely a lot. I thought it would be more.
That's a lot to bet on a single roll. The most I have bet on a single roll is 2 million gil. And that takes a lot of balls.
Yeah, well, I'm just a poor little plebeian. I barely craft. I just, word finances my cosplay habit.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And then, I mean, your potato could always go dancing for handouts and such.
Oh, but no. Let me tell you, anyone that looks at my potato that way, no.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, anytime a character flirts with or makes a pass at my potato in the quests, I'm like, no!
It's just a little bit weird. Just a little awkward.
Don't, no, I'm just like, hello, FBI.
What? Datelite NBC's at the door.
It's this one right here. Hello, please.
Tell us where he /doted you. Oh boy. All right. Well, is there any other stuff people want to talk about that's non-spoilery before we dive into talking about stuff? Because we only talked about maybe a third of the game and then some of the real intense stuff, but there's a lot more to talk about. But at last chance for any stuff that people that don't want to hear spoilers can hear too. Yes, no?
I'm ready to move.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you do care about spoilers, thank you for listening to episode 4, and feel free to skip ahead all the way to the outro for the show. Do have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and whatever you do celebrate. For the rest of you all who have played through the MSQ of Endwalker, okay, here we go. The spoiler warning has been given. Let's talk stuff. I mean, we all finished the MSQ last episode, and we've talked about things up to, and now since the spoiler warning is given, we talked up to Zodiark, we talked up to the first trial, and we talked about a few random things after that. What I want to know from all of you is, what do you feel from the whole trip, from beginning to end? What was some of the biggest surprises or biggest moments for you? I mean, obviously Zodiark's Trial 1 is a big one, but since we've already talked about that, outside of that one, what are some of the other big things that like made you go, holy shit?
Time travel again.
Right?
I was not expecting that at all. Like, I knew that we would like saw Heidelin / I didn't know she was Vanessa. I was like, oh, why is she wearing a robe? Why she got that mask? Oh well, Heidelin's weird. And then like then they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna go back into the unsundered world. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I did not predict Elpis at all. I mean, and that's the thing, right? Once you get to the moon, and the moon is the 4th zone, and you know the shared fate thing says there's 2 zones left, you're like, what the fuck's next?
I know. I was like, excuse me? What? Also, I totally forgot that Loporets were even a thing. Like, my mind deleted them. So then when they were like, we're gonna go meet your allies on the moon, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like creepy moon people, and then all these freaking rabbits pop out, and I was like, oh my god.
And they all have adorable voices.
Oh, cute names.
The leader was the best voice. I like how she mentioned that, but alas, Zodiark is no more.
And that's the thing that for me was the biggest surprise. I think everyone was expecting that our final boss would be Zodiark or Zodiark and Xenos in some capacity. And everyone, including me, forgot that the whole reason Zodiark was created was to forestall the final days and to put everything back into place. So, of course, if the final challenge is the final days, well, then we got to get rid of the thing that's preventing the final days from happening. No, but I don't think I've talked to anybody who didn't draw the conclusion of Zodiark is going to be responsible for the final days, quote unquote. But he wasn't. He was the one preventing it from happening. And the whole point of that level 83 trial was to get rid of him so that we could have the final days.
Yeah.
Yep. And once Van Daniel said played right exactly as intended, it was right when he said that, I'm like, that's when it kind of clicked into memory for me. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Basically, we should have never done anything Van Daniel wanted us to. Or if anytime we did something, if Van Daniel seemed happy about it, I was like, god damn it.
Well, and the problem with that is if we didn't dance to his tune, he had a backup plan. And its name was Xenos goddamn yay Galvis.
And all he had to be was like, hey, this will really piss off the Warrior of Light. And Xenos is like, cool. I'll do it.
I mean, he did.
My BFF, my best foe forever.
Speaking of that, I have to skip ahead all the way to the ending. Speaking of Xenos, when you get to the scene with the Endbringer, the Endsinger, whatever you want to call her, Emo Medion, and you hear the pounding, and Shinryu literally comes crashing through the universe, and I'm like, what? Wait, how? And then he goes on to explain he gorged himself on the mother crystal and stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I'm like speechless when here I see my character hopping on Shinryu. We're gonna go fight the final boss. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's probably the one low point of the story for me. But to be fair, I hate Xenos with a passion. He should have stayed. He should have stayed dead in Stormblood. He has ceased to be interesting since that point.
No, I love him. He's good. He's such a clear character. He's just like. Also, I love the fact that Alize like threw him off. Like that was hilarious to me.
That was great. It's like, all right, Allie, you and I were permanently good in my book. But here's the thing about that moment when he crashed through reality. I guess I'm like, Jesus fuck, what the hell are you doing?
He's crashing into the big blue ball sack that you're in.
I'm just like, can you just go away and I'll deal with you when I'm done with this? And then there's the fact that we essentially ride on a platform on his back for the entire final boss fight.
I thought it was cool.
Eating some big fat tacos. That music was great.
Yes, it was. But here's the thing. Considering where Xenos / Shinryu's head is, and where the end singer kind of like hovers around during that final boss fight, you're like, that's probably more than just a little bit awkward for him. Or if he just doesn't care and he wants to like help me deal with this thing so we can have our big fight, lean your head up and take some chomp attacks, man. What the hell?
Brandon,
all he does is just sit there and take planets on his back, for crying out loud.
Brandon, you just created a mental picture in my head that I didn't need. Thanks.
Yeah.
I did not even think about that.
Sharing my pain. I freaking hate Xenos so much.
I think
never had so much fun than I did in finally ending that stupid piece of garbage.
Well, and there's the thing, though, right? I mean, even if you hate him, even if you think he's a bad villain or whatever like that, right? If you think he's a little too one-dimensional, and spoiler alert, yeah, he's one-dimensional, but that's kind of where some of his charm is, as far as I think one of the reasons why Xenos works for me is because he is very unlike many of the other antagonists that you fight. Like, Xenos is just a one-line kind of guy. He has one agenda, one goal, and that's freaking it. Everyone else has complicated motives. This guy, he just wants to fight.
Everybody else has, like, some sort of sympathetic backstory or some kind of tragedy, and it's like, Xenos is just like, one time I fought and it was really cool, and I want to do that again. I don't really care about anything else.
Let's get this right. Xenos' thoughts were, one time I fought somebody and it gave me an orgasm.
I mean, you're not wrong.
My problem is his deathgasm, okay? And it needs to be the best one in the entire world, or it's worthless. And he didn't like leave the grave on purpose. Like, they experimented on him, and now he's stuck as like a soul that can just move between bodies. And so he probably got like his death orgasm shot him out of his own body. And then he's like, fuck.
To be fair, my main issue with Xenos is that from the end of his trial fight in Stormblood up until probably about midway through Endwalker, he just was boring and annoying to me. Starting about the point where he body swaps you, it's like, okay, you're starting to get a bit interesting. You know, you're starting to be kind of a threat here, and it's starting to get a little menacing, and you've shown you don't have any qualms about hurting my friends. Okay, but we're going to have ourselves a big fight later, but I got to deal with this first. And I was just starting to get to a point where it's like, okay, maybe having one final Sephiroth at the end of Final Fantasy VII style fight with Xenos after we deal with the Medion in whatever form she is, maybe that'll be interesting. And then he just shows up as Shinryu for some goddamn reason, shatters reality for I don't know why, just to be like, ugh, you haven't dealt with this yet? And then with his dragon head up her crotch.
I take it this is your prey.
This is just like, okay, come on. Just why? This is just...
He needs his deathgasm.
That whole scene, I'm just like, really? Really? You have to...
We've blue-balled him so long that he deep-throated the mother crystal and came for us.
You're not making this better.
I'm so tempted to put the title of this episode Deep Throating the Mother Crystal. I'm not.
Man, I never considered this. I thought he was like, oh boy.
But his presence there, to me, almost not quite all the way, but a little bit of the gravitas of the situation fighting the Endsinger was just kind of wrecked because of his presence.
Nope, I loved it.
I really had no complaints about it. I was just kind of like, to me, it just felt very out of left field when he entered, right? But then after the Endsinger fell, Medion fell, and then all that stuff, and things got like, kind of tugged at the feels there. And in the back of my head, I was thinking, Xenos is still around. What are we gonna do here? And then he has that talk with you. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna fight, aren't we? Yeah, he's like, yeah, we're gonna fight.
He's like, we are literally at the end of the universe, dude.
To be fair, I am also sick and tired of. I get, it coming from Xenos, the constant comparisons of you and I are the exact same. We live for battle. This is all that will define us.
Well, but that's the thing is that he's so single-minded. He cannot understand that you live for anything else. Like that's kind of the tragedy of him.
Yeah, that's not the part I have a problem with. The thing I hate is that this community has glommed onto that as, yes, that's all we care about. If you picked any other option other than that, I can't deny, you're lying to yourself. And I'm like, you know what?
I've not seen that anywhere.
Okay, here's the thing.
To be fair, I also prowl the 14 subreddit, and it seems to be very, very common there.
I haven't seen it.
So
I'm there a lot.
The thing is, though, is that I think that Xenos is the kind of character, and also that I can't deny line reply, that appeals to a certain section of the people who play the game, right?
Lords.
Sure. And there's definitely sections of the player base that don't necessarily feel that way, whose thoughts and views are probably a lot more aligned with yours, Brandon. But they're also, I think, at the same time, people who aren't going to be necessarily as outspoken and say, well, yeah, of course I chose option 2 or 3. You know what I mean? It's like people who choose option 1 are the kind of people who will be loud about choosing option 1.
Yeah, and they're probably also confrontational by nature. Or they just want to rile people up and be like, oh.
Well, if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast, I stand in opposition to you, and you can just deal with it.
Hey, I chose option 1 because it made sense for my character. That's all there is to it. It's like I looked at the 3 lines, and it's like, which one of these is he more likely to say? The first one made the most sense to me.
I was looking for the "will you just shut the fuck up" option.
Let's see. I also liked, and I think I spoke about this briefly last episode, but I'll say a little more. I really liked the scene, or the possible choice of scenes, where after you return from the moon, someone knocks on your door and you basically wonder who it is, and whoever you think it is the person who shows up. I haven't
watched them all yet.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment. Okay, that's the thing, right? Now that I think about it, it's like there weren't too many big shocking scenes. I think the Zodiark reveal is like a huge thing, right? But when I think about like the entirety of the MSQ, there are little special moments that happen in each time, and they aren't like mind-shattering, but they're just little things that make you go, man, that's really freaking cool. Like being able to do a trust with Vana, Emmett Selk, and Hythlodaeus. That's pretty cool. Doing an 8-person trust with all the Scions. That's pretty freaking cool.
That was great.
Oh, speaking of trial fights, how were the trial fights for you guys? Because I definitely had some trouble.
The first 2 were not an issue for me. I don't think we even wiped on the second one at all. But the Phoenix, Jesus Christ.
The Phoenix? Are you talking about the raid boss?
Oh no, not Pandemonium. No. I was talking about as far as like Zodiark, Hydaelyn, or Endsinger.
Yeah, I just did the trial or the trust for Hydaelyn because you gotta.
Yeah.
And for Zodiark, we wiped 3 times, and it was all to that one part with the star formation.
Yep.
Because we just could not figure that out. And I think at the time that we passed, we just lucked out that enough people lucked into the right position.
Yeah, I had more trouble with Zodiark than I did the other 2. To be fair, with the Hydaelyn trial being done as a trust, I'm like, all right, where's your Stola? I'm just going to go wherever the hell she goes. And I lived through everything.
Yeah. I think
Zodiark,
I was falling around Oriange, I think.
Well, I mean, he's really freaking tall, so he's easy to spot.
Yeah, he is.
Zodiark, I took forever to get my head wrapped around the rotating platform mechanic, and it's like, all right, if I stand here, I'll be safe when it rotates. And then it would rotate the opposite way that I thought it was going to. Or I'm like, wait a second, no, I am a smooth brain. This puts me right in a freaking. And yeah, I died a lot in that one. Endsinger, we didn't wipe once. We had a lot of people die, but our healers and me as a summoner were just on top of the reses, and we just pushed through on the first go.
Okay, so as 3 summoners, how many times have your giant fuck off Sparkle Boys just screwed you?
Not a one.
It's happened to me so many times. It's especially Titan because he just does this big like yellow thing. He takes over the entire screen, and then Ifrit, it's all fire. And so if there's anything fire going on, I'm like, is that the thing?
Yeah, I will say. I will say both Ifrit and Titan have very, very blinding attacks. But what I normally do is I'll summon them and then I'll move aside so that they're not blocking my screen immediately.
Well, what's funny is I had to heal a bunch of expert roulettes because I needed tombstones to get into a raid, and so I'm a scholar and I'm running with like another summoner, and I'm just like getting freaking Titan ass in my face constantly, and I'm like, oh, so that's what this feels like.
I had no less than 2 groups in an expert roulette tell me to turn my pet size down to small, and I'm like, that's a client side setting, dude.
Yeah,
you have to be the one to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say if people are complaining about like seeing that your pets are big, they just have to set it on their end, and your pets will look small.
Yeah, but people don't realize that. They think it has to be done by the summoner, and it's a setting on on their end that will affect everybody else. Nope, not how it works.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any of that, but I've mostly been healing in expert, which
I'm not confident enough in my healing abilities. I caused a couple of wipes in a freaking level 79 Shadowbringers dungeon when I was doing Scholar on this. The leveling roulette just to try and get some easy tombstones. I'm like, oh, Katana Ravel. That won't be too bad. Nope, I suck.
See, I'm a generally pretty good. Like I've done raid healing in the past, like in WoW and in last X-Pack. When I was doing the primal trials or the whatever, I would do healing a lot because that's how you get faster queues. But oh man, the end of the Dead Ends dungeon, there's so many opportunities for you to kill yourself that no healer can save you from. And also, I resent having to manually Asuna everyone because the fairy used to have an ability that would just mass everyone.
Oh yeah.
And so
they removed that?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
that would be so helpful in the disease boss when he's putting that thing that like kills you if it doesn't get taken off in a certain amount of time. And like all the DPS and me, because I'm dumb, have it on us. And I'm like, well, I'm saving myself. Good luck, boys. I'll res you in a minute.
You're making me very glad I chose not to power level Sage before doing the MSQ.
I really like Sage healing though. I'm really trying to get that up. I think I'm 77 now. Like, I really enjoy the mix. What I found is really helpful for healing is to always use your blue balls.
Yes.
Like, the blue balls are the throughput. Like, everything else is just kind of like, eh. Or there's, like, several oh shit buttons. And then the blue balls are like, the specific person really needs help. And then other than that, I'm just pew, 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 pew.
And there's the episode title, Always Use Your Blue Balls. There we go. We did it. Thank you, Megan. I knew I could count on you.
Great, because the animation kind of looks like you're throwing it at him. Like you're just chucking this blue orb of light just right on their face.
Yeah, it's like your Nulus make a little X pattern and like, shoot energy into this giant orb and then you just kind of like flap it over towards somebody. It's great.
I just imagine like, hey, you hurt?
I love the look of I love the look of Sage. I love the the whole design element behind it, but I could never ever bring myself to heal in any kind of serious endgame capacity.
Well,
it's way too stressful for me.
That's my plan, is to get Sage up so I can heal on it because I'm really enjoying it. But I'm also really enjoying Reaper. Like what marks a good class for me is that the more abilities I get, the more fun I have.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there are definitely classes where the more abilities you get, you're like, this is not as fun. It could take me back. Like upgrade, like, no, go the fuck back. But yeah, for Reaper I just unlocked the like really fancy Void Boy who does like the red circle and then you get like 2 charges of your special attack.
Oh yeah. I know.
And
I
I'm
know.
like,
I
yeah. And I love being a grim dark little potato. I got her the glam from House of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
What's the girl's name?
Edda.
Edda, that's right. I was gonna say Ida, and I'm like, that's not right. It's a not stressed E. But yes. So she's just got the witch hat with the rose petals and the eye patch on, and then like the Reaper robe underneath. And of course I had to change her hair. I'm like, you're gonna have pink hair now that you're a full-blown Reaper.
Because nothing says edgy like pink hair.
Heck yeah. It's like the little side the side ponytail with like the purple bow on it.
I think I shared my 2 glams with you guys in the Discord, and they both make use of the Crypt Lurker Helm of Maiming, just because it's like absolutely perfect. And I put together 2 different armor and color sets for it. This is great. But one thing I have noticed with Reaper is that it doesn't give you like stupidity prevention.
No.
If you don't push the buttons in the order that they're supposed to be pushed, it will for sure let you like reset the resources and not use them properly. Yeah. Ever since I hit level 90, I have screwed up the whole like when you go into like, the Enshroud mode where it's like super fast and then you get to use that super hard hitting Communio attack.
Yeah,
I screw that up so much just because I get trigger happy and push the buttons in the wrong order.
And Reaper has a long build up to like its big moves, right?
It's not super long because it has a lot of like charged abilities that will give you like 50 of the shroud gauge. So you can build back up to using your special like shroud gauge moves pretty quick, and then once you do those 5 times, you can dump into the what the heck is it called? Like the mode where your avatar possesses you, and you just got to go fast.
Man, I'm not there yet. But that sounds freaking bitchin', and I can't wait.
It is really, really good. You just have to be sure you don't override your resources or don't use them and spend something else that it will like generate. Like that one attack that generates 2 of the special attack buttons. If you push another button that will like would have given you another one, it will just override it, and you will avoid one. I've done that so many times. I'm awful at it.
Yeah, I've definitely screwed up my Reaper rotation quite a few times, especially now that I'm like in a trust and I really don't care. Like,
yeah, that is nice.
I'm not showing off for anybody. But yeah, luckily they don't make fun of us with a bunny on our head, so
that is true.
But I swear to God, every time that I run a trust or anything or any dungeon that's just throwing ninja gear at me, and I'm like, I refuse, sir. You cannot make me. You will take my edgelord status from my cold dead hands, and I will not Naruto run.
Well, hey, at least you can turn them in for Grand Company seals and then buy the random pet or mount boxes that they have now.
Oh, that's true. I gotta get on that. See, because Lele Me is a boost, she is like the first rank in the Grand Company.
Oh no!
So I have to level it up to the point where I can even unlock the ability to turn things in for seals. Ooh. So my bags are just overflowing with random crap.
Do you folks remember that episode? I think it was episode 2, where the 3 of us were predicting who would live and who would die.
We were all wrong.
We were very
wrong. About that.
Which is not to say there's not a lot of death in this expansion.
Oh, there's death.
There's a lot of it. Like some of it, I literally had to like turn away from the game in because I'm like, this is hitting me in the anxiety buttons. I cannot watch this.
Yeah, I think there were times when I yelled like, "What the fuck!" and almost jumped up from the computer. And like, Ward was just like, "Yeah, man, it's crazy." Dude, what the fuck, man? Warn me.
But yeah, I definitely think they played us with the whole, build up to this expansion of, no one's safe. Turns out nobody really...
They did what you do in a really effective horror movie, is that they had this sense of dread through the whole thing. They're showing you all this horrible shit that's happening, and the narration is constantly like, oh, hold tight to your friends, because you never know when they're gonna die. And I'm like, oh god! Like the whole thing, the whole time. So like, yeah, they played us really well. And then at that point, the best thing to, subvert your expectations is to just not kill anyone. You just freaked us out the whole game for nothing, but like, masterfully played, sir.
Yeah.
I can't wait to fight Tataru as the final boss of 6.5.
Tataru takes over the freaking the monetarists.
Yeah.
Becomes the leader of the trade guild and usurps oh god, what's his name? It's not
Lolorito.
Lolorito, that's it.
Yeah, I don't want to fight her. I'll help her do that.
I know, right? You're like, cool, now we've got an ally with a position of power. I don't care how you got there.
You know what? That's an interesting thought. What if she moved Into Ul'dah and then became one of the top 5 richest people in the Ul'dah? Then she would join be a part of the syndicate.
Yeah.
Hell yes, let's do it.
Oh, speaking of Tataru, did you know that somebody found her carbuncle that was wandering Lenosia and brought it to Charlian to study? Because they're like, there's this random carbuncle that doesn't have an Arcanist.
Yep, I found that one. It was pretty great.
Forgot about that.
Oh my god!
Like, okay, carbuncles. I think the Arcanist Guild questline even mentions that they can't wander too far from their summoner.
I think Tataru is like secretly incredibly powerful.
Yeah, Tataru isn't the worst Arcanist we've ever seen. She's one of the most powerful.
She just doesn't know it.
Well, she's a pretty good one once you get to Stormblood, and she's helping you out with those the primal quests that are not primals, auspices, which was super funny. In that one time, the Snaky Boy, you just see him in a cutscene showing up somewhere. And I was like, oh no, is the Red Sea in trouble? And then like the turtle guy shows up later and he's like, yeah, I was just out getting him dango. That's like a sweet treat. And then I ran into this other guy and he was like, hey, you want to help us with this thing? And I was like, sure.
I love Seiryu. All the auspices are really great. I love doing that quest line so much.
I love just seeing him roll up in his little snaky form like, hey guys, I would like some treats, please.
You're like, what? No, that's Seiryu. Oh, this is amazing.
I just love the thought that he's just chilling out there in the Red Sea, just hanging out as a snake, but also, eating human food. Someone give him a hat.
I've actually been unlocking some of the Realm Reborn extremes and doing a few of the old extremes and stuff and opening treasure coffers, and that's been kind of cool.
You going for mounts?
Can you get mounts if you go unsynced?
That's how I got that's how I got my splashy pony.
Oh, okay. You see, I guess I was just under the assumption that the only way you got the mounts was if you did it synced. If you did it at the level it was intended.
That would be a Warcraft move.
Kidding.
Just kidding. That's not true at all.
Were you kidding though?
Well, I used to run what was it that had the Phoenix? The Sunwell?
No, that's the Eye.
I used to do that constantly. That's a big thing of going around OPing old dungeons and raids to try and get their mounts. It's a big thing to do. Wow, there isn't enough content treadmill for you.
So, speaking of Firebird, I know there's a Firebird mount that you get by getting all 6 of the horse mounts.
No, the Firebird is from getting all of the bird mounts in the heavens.
Oh, right, all the bird. Okay, so are all of those bird mounts obtainable in doing content unsynced?
Yep. That's how I have them.
I know what I'm doing tomorrow after work.
So apparently,
all of the trials. Sorry, go ahead, Megan.
No, sorry. Apparently, the new mount is a lynx, so it's a cat. So I need it.
Yeah, and if you get all the the EX trial mounts in every expansion, there's always some kind of a follow-on quest to get you a super special version of it. Like there's a really nice looking wolf for getting all the wolves from Stormblood. I'm sure you've seen the mechanical dragon you get from doing.
I want that mechanical dragon so bad, guys.
I do too.
And I know it's it's probably an expansion away before I can solo it, but I want that so bad.
Agreed, I do too.
It's not hard to form up. You can bring like 5 people and take it down, or even just 2 sometimes. Depends on the thing.
For the Shadowbringers trials?
No, that probably would take like 5.
Yeah, because that's how you get the Mecha Dragon is getting all the dragon mounts from the Shadowbringers trials. And
right.
Frankly, I don't even really want to do the weapon ones on normal. That's how much anxiety freaking Emerald and Ruby weapon gave me. Diamond weapon wasn't so bad, but
which one was the platform?
The platform that you're having to like teleport across to, that was
in the sky. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Weapon. That one was fun. That one I was I mained Red Mage for that because people died so often.
Yep.
All right. Well, kind of winding down here, since we are basically at the end of the year, and this is the last episode of 2021, because it'll be a couple weeks before we record again. It will be in a new year. We've played a lot so far. There's still quite a bit more to come with Savage Pandemonium. I doubt any of us are necessarily doing Savage Pandemonium. Megan, I don't know about you. You might? All right. You will be our Savage Pandemonium expert because I don't see myself doing Savage anytime soon.
Me and Ward really like to raid together. That's like the thing that we used to do in WoW all the time. And we're in contact with a few groups that we've raided with in the past, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. Right now, he's really into doing Savage Zordiark and Hardelin. But I haven't finished yet because like we just came back from the cruise and I've been doing other shit. But yeah, he like immediately came back from the cruise, he like got his gear up, and then he was like watching videos, and then like he had pugged it and he's like farming it now all in like one day. And I'm like, okay, cool. Not me though. Good luck.
So I guess my question for all three of us, and Brandon, let's start with you on this one as we kind of wrap up here, is it is a little cheesy, but hell, almost every podcast I know does this around this time of year. What is your New Year's resolution for Final Fantasy 14? What do you resolve to get accomplished or changed in the new year?
Oh geez, I always feel bad doing these because I always like make a list of goals I want to do, and they revolve around simple things like get all these jobs to max level and so on and so forth. And I basically just look at them throughout the year and go, all right, is this attainable? Is this something I even want to do anymore? So I'm going to make a real like simple one that's going to be pretty easy to pull off. And I want to have all the role quests done before they publish whatever follow-on story that ties them all together before that comes out.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I've got 3 down. I just got to level a tank and a range DPS now.
I hate tanking.
Yeah, I feel about tanking the same way I feel about healing, which is why when I'm leveling them, I tend to stick to just doing stuff that I know is pretty close or pretty certain to getting me stuff that I can handle, which is the MSQ and the Alliance roulettes.
I'm waiting to do the healer quest until I have Sage maxed because what you told me about the fairy. Yeah,
the healer role quest, I did it as Scholar, and because of the way they don't put you in a party, there's no fairy auto healing for 2 of those NPCs.
Right.
Won't say who they are, but it definitely made it a little bit more difficult than it would have been normally with Scholar.
Yeah.
The fact that I am disgustingly out of practice with Scholar healing probably didn't help.
I still like Scholar. It's basically exactly the same. They gave us like one ability and it's just gotta go fast.
Yeah.
which is nice in dungeons. But unfortunately, when people aren't expecting it and they're taking a lot of damage and it's like avoid all the shit on the ground stuff, and then you hit them with a speed boost, which also reduces damage, which is why you hit it.
And
they're just like,
off the edge.
yeah. Run into the fire, run off the edge. Oh boy.
Hit the wall and die.
Being a scholar is eternal suffering, and yet I do it.
That is why I remain a summoner.
So, like, I'm the only one in this group that likes to heal. I guess it's like I like suffering and healing. I don't know why.
I can't imagine doing healing on a gamepad.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. Hell no.
Definitely not. I can't imagine playing any part of this game on a controller.
I could maybe, like, monk. Maybe.
You know what? I've got Summoner and RDM down pretty decently on a gamepad. You have to use the extra crossbars to do it. So there's a lot of left trigger, right trigger switching over to hit stuff. But I've got a natural rhythm of things now. It's not bad.
Well, I mean, clearly it's been optimized that way. Like, it is intended to be played that way. I'm just like, I've been a PC MMO player for so long, I cannot even. I need my mouse.
I know it would probably take like almost no time at all, or not no time at all. I know it would take a while to get used to it, but I could get used to it. I don't really know if I even want to try, to be honest.
No, exactly. I got something that works. I'm good, thanks.
Yep.
Hey, it's all fine. I think I just decided to do gamepad because I was like, you can do this on a gamepad, huh? Let's see how that plays like. And then I just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
I figured if it's good enough for PS4 and 5 people and Xbox people, then sure, why not? Let's see just how tricky it is. And found out that it's actually not that tricky at all.
I mean, I watched Drac on YouTube freaking do Savage rating all the way up to max, and freaking the ultimate version of Alexander on a gamepad. And I'm just like, don't know how you do this, but major props on you for pulling it off. I'll be over here with my keyboard and not attempting those.
Mm-hmm.
Megan, any New Year's resolution for you for 14?
I want to get Sage up to max, and then I want to get Lily my potato up to endgame and be doing cool shit as a Reaper potato.
You're already doing cool shit as a Reaper just by existing.
It's true, but I want to raid, and I don't think I'll be doing savages, but I definitely want to do the normal raids and the end dungeons and all that.
And since we can't talk about it right now because spoilers are fine, you need to send me a screenshot of you and Xenos fighting to the death.
I'm looking forward to that so much. I'm gonna figure out how to record my screen so I can record the whole thing because
that'd be good.
It's gonna be great. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm gonna be like, okay, before I go into this fight, I gotta make sure that my glamour is on point.
The fisticuffs, though. That's going to be great.
I felt so stupid doing, just punching the guy. I'm like,
I know. Because, I'm a little cat girl.
I'm a freaking summoner. I should be summoning Titan to punch you.
I know. Oh, God, it was so funny. Because I got little noodle arms, and I'm a summoner. As a little cat girl.
It's like, felt utterly ridiculous punching him with my freaking level 90 summoner gear. I'm like, I have a horn on my head. At the very least, let me try and headbutt the guy. Jeez.
At least you look like you could take him. Honestly, my cat girl is she should have been smacking him with her book.
Go ahead.
But it is. I do really like the new summoner animations and the fact that you can fire punch forward. That's what it should have been. Your freaking Ifrit punch.
That is true. So what about you? What's your resolution?
My 2 resolutions are to get more people recruited into the free company that I'm in, and get the RP going on over there. So the group I'm in. So the group that I'm in is part of a thing called the Stars Herald, which is it's basically role playing a newspaper company, a publication company.
Oh, that's super cute. I want to join.
And there's a little more to it than that too, but on the surface, that's what it is, and then there are layers to it. So there is that. Also, the other goal I have is to be the best Stardew Valley player I can be when the Island Sanctuary opens up in 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so looking forward to that. Do you have any idea how far up my alley that is? Like one of the other games I play. I do play Stardew Valley. I play Animal Crossing. I play The Sims. I play so many like farming / what is it, colony builders. Those are some of my favorites. And so to be able to just do that, oh my god.
I mean, I'm going to try to buy a medium house when the housing thing happens. I'll be perfectly honest with you folks. I'll have my hopes up, but I'm keeping my expectations low. And I'm just right now expecting that I'm going to put the bid in. I'm probably going to lose the house, and I'm just going to have to deal with my Island Sanctuary and be happy with it.
It's not a lottery system now?
Yep.
It's going to be a lottery system in 6.1, yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say ask Ward how to get a house, but it's going to be different now.
It's going to be different for some of the plots. I think they are going to allow a smaller portion of the plots to be claimed in the old style, but most of the plots I think are going to be a lottery.
So the trick I could tell you is that if you buy a cheap, crappy house in a place that nobody wants, then that means that you can instantly buy a house once it goes up for auction. You don't have to wait for the queue. You could just be like, yes, I want to move house to this house.
I don't think they're letting you do that in the Ishgard.
That's the thing. Like, that might not be. Anymore. I've had my house for literal years.
I feel like they recently made a tweak to that so that that's no longer a thing.
Yeah. Well, my house is like literally not anywhere fancy. It's just in the lavender beds because I like purple pretty flowers and I like the forest.
At least you have a house. I have to be jealous of yours.
Are you guys? You guys don't have any characters on Crystal. You can't come see my house.
Yeah, we do. Goblins on Crystal. Are you sure you
Oh
don't?
wait, no, Ether. Wait, I'm on the different one where I've got the house, and then we can't. Okay, I'm on. Yeah. Look.
Well, there's another thing. If they make data center travel a thing later this year, who knows if they will? But if they do, then
they were gonna, and then
yeah,
everything.
then things happened. Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
everything changed when the player surge attacked.
Everything changed when WoW shit its pants.
Ain't that the truth? I will briefly say I don't see myself returning to that game until the next expansion comes out. The most recent patch for WoW didn't do anything to make me go, oh hey, maybe I'll visit again. So
how many expansions has it been since Battle for Azeroth? Is it just one?
Yes,
just one.
Okay, yeah. I didn't even finish Battle for Azeroth. I don't even remember where I left off. I had always cared so much about the lore, and then it became clear that they did not. I was like, I'm out. Bye.
Yeah, the lore is a contemptible point with me recently, but the game where the lore isn't a contemptible point for me is XIV, and I'm having a lot of fun in 14 and plan to be talking about for some time to come.
What's so great about 14 is it's got such a rich world that always makes sense. At like all the side characters and all the side quests and side content, and like you can make up an RP character from like all of these different diverse backgrounds, and like you can learn all this cool stuff to use in your character.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, that's what keeps a lore focused community thriving, because we all like to make our OCs.
Yeah,
slightly, probably significantly behind that, I'm sure, is the fact that they don't introduce a whole new area of the world and then just forget it exists.
Yeah, right?
Like you will find reasons to go back there, if not in the main story, and at least some side content.
Yep.
Like the fact that the role quests are all associated with the old cities.
Mm-hmm.
You spend a fair amount of time back there. And they also like are using these to like resolve outstanding plot points, minor though they may be, that have been brought up in previous expansions. It's glorious, and I love it. Even just freaking going back and talking to people for like one quest in the friggin' Crystarium before we journey to Elpis. I loved it. I'm like, oh my God, Queen, I've missed you. Give me a hug.
That was really well timed too, because they're like, yeah, we could escape, but all the shards will be destroyed, and we were like, oh no, and then they're like, yeah, let's go remind you of all your friends on the first. I was like, oh, my babies, I can't leave you to burn, no matter how cute the leopards are.
Yeah, I'm like, you're only recruiting the people on the source. You're not going to go save the shards. Yeah, this ain't happening. I don't care what your plan is. You're not doing it.
Well, it's like, if you wanted to roleplay as like an Ishgardian noble, you have all of the story at your fingertips that you need to like make a really compelling character. And like, even just going back and doing that was the Magic DPS quest, where it was all in Ishgard with like the like what's happened since the Dragonsong War.
Good. That Magic DPS was so good.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god.
Final fight was great.
I enjoyed it a lot. Also, Emmerich, pretty boy. Stupid pants, pretty boy.
See, if the Blue Balls title hadn't worked, then I could have used that one. But we're still going to use the Blue Balls.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys think of the healer and the melee DPS role quests, because I mean they involve mostly Alamigo, some level Ul'dah for healer, and straight up Limsa for the melee DPS one, and I found both of them really compelling. So awesome. I'm eager to see what you guys think, and I did the freaking melee DPS one as a Reaper.
Nice.
Felt kind of weird standing in front of. I'm not going to say who you talked to through that one, in like my freaking jet black and white armor with a deadly blood covered scythe on my back. Like, oh, no one's going to call that how scary I look. Okay, whatever, let's do this.
Like, dude, I mean, he's going through some shit right now. All right, we're just gonna, he's going through a phase. Let him. It's like, honestly, I'm surprised it took this long.
All right. Well, I think that is going to do it for this episode. And that brings us to the end of the year. You guys, I've had a lot of fun playing Final Fantasy XIV since I started playing it in earnest again in April. Brandon, thank you. Megan, thank you as well. Like I said, both of you are partially responsible for me getting back into 14. So this podcast is entirely your fault.
I'm very glad, unless you were that one person in front of me.
I was not that. I was not that one person in front of you, I swear. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us for the rest of the year. We will be back in January, of course. Of course, wish you a happy holiday, whatever you do celebrate. Do have an amazing new year. Megan, between now and episode 5, how can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at CatMomMegan, Meagan. It's where I post about my art projects and mostly cat pictures and Final Fantasy screenshots.
Awesome. And Brandon, how about you?
Twitter and Tumblr, I'm the BMAT. Post a lot of random Final Fantasy stuff on my Tumblr. There's a link in my Twitter profile that has links to all of the creative endeavors I'm involved in. Go check that out and leave me some comments on some places. Appreciate it.
All right. As for myself, you can follow me on Twitter at RoWCR. That's RHOWCR. In addition to this podcast, Brandon and I are also part of a little Dungeons and Dragons podcast called +5 to Hit. You can find it on Twitter at +5 to Hit. New episode of that should be coming out. Well, by the time you're listening to this, it should already be out. So take a listen to that if you're into some D&D. And this show you can find on Twitter at A Podcast Reborn. I kept it pretty simple there. You can even email us at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. Send us emails. Let us know what your Eorzean New Year's resolution is. What are you going to do in Final Fantasy XIV in 2022? I would definitely like to know, and maybe we'll read those on the show. So do that. Until next time, the theme for our show, as always, is Alex Moukala's Imagine Boss theme for Endwalker. You can check out his YouTube channel for some more great music. A link to it can be found in the notes for this podcast. And any music, any other derivatives of Final Fantasy XIV music you hear on this podcast belong to Square Enix. No copyright infringement is intended. For Megan, Brandon, and Butterscotch, who was on the attack earlier tonight, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete.